A woman awakens in a crowded room, says the opening line of the film. She starts to fear. She is warned not to move by another young man who also attempts to calm her down. Another lady awakens as she becomes anxious, and the young man once more reassures them of his knowledge. Everyone else begins to awaken all at once, and panic can be seen spreading across the big assemblage. The man yells at the crowd to calm down, but they mostly ignore him. Some people listen, but others who leave their circle are promptly slain. One individual realizes that the person who passes away is being directed by their hands, which appear to be voting for the person to die next. Before a young man stands forward and says that they should kill the older people. 6. To give them 10 minutes to discuss what is happening. About 5 people had been murdered. The senior victims wail and plead for their life as they are eliminated one by one. To buy some time. One individual tries to make up the story that he saw wet black aliens. He gets slain because the gang does not believe him. The person who made the suggestion that the elderly pass away singles out a lady with cancer, accusing her of not being 52, and other group members jump in to defend her when he declares that cancer or not, she will still pass away next. Everyone should communicate with one another and make an effort to understand the issue, according to the cancer patient. After a woman begins telling them in detail about her life, she is abruptly slain, and the group determines that using no names is a better method to communicate. A man makes note of his wife's presence next to him. A second man claims to know the person in front of him as well. A police officer mentions that he knows the person who beat the shit out of his girlfriend. He acknowledges it when asked if the allegations of domestic violence are accurate. Following a conflict with the officer, he is slain. They must pick who is good, and who is bad, a woman observes. A second man, who is black, remarks cynically that everyone should simply kill the black people. A few people in the group start yelling and arguing. The officer starts acting racially when he claims that black people believe they deserve everything. The gang ends up killing him. Everyone wants to live, thus they all need to cooperate since they are likely being studied, says a U.S. Marine. In an effort to end the program, people decide to all vote for the person sitting next to them. A random individual is killed as a result of it failing. They retry it because they believe someone made a mistake. Over a pregnant woman and a silent man, a dazzling light arises out of nowhere. He passes away. A guy says that the only way to stop the other man from voting for the pregnant woman was for him to vote for the man who was slain. The gang determines that it is only a game. Another man says that if they murder them, everyone else would have a better chance because the kid or the pregnant lady will prevail. The group starts to vote, but an old Asian woman and the little girl end up tied. The young girl is kept safe. The gang must decide whether to kill one of them or protect the pregnant woman and young child. Resuming vote, a male is unexpectedly chosen in a three-way tie, behind the expectant woman and little child. He cries out in hysteria, "Just kill them both," and then passes away. A guy calls for volunteers to come forward and offer to die. For a little period of time, no one steps forward till 16-year-old Sean recommends that he volunteer since he doesn't want to murder anyone. Another man says he shouldn't die since he's just a kid. After the group debates whether Sean is too young or is allowed to make his own decisions, an elderly black man at the rear utters, "No, I will do it." After being questioned, Sean claims he still wants to volunteer. They murder him. The Marine claims that he was in Afghanistan saving them and reasons why he shouldn't die as he feels suddenly targeted as others stare at him. An elderly woman offers to volunteer when asked by the crowd. She sobs and is murdered. The clergyman assures the congregation that God is keeping an eye on them and that he has a plan. A man starts yelling and swearing at the preacher. Following the voting, there is a tie between him and a woman who remains silent. The man claims to be aware that the woman standing next to him is a porn star. The gang ends up killing him. Someone advises that individuals should consider whether or not they have families and that those who are childless should volunteer. The voting process continues, and a youngster who said she was still just a kid is slain while a man introduces himself to a lady. The man who is introducing himself to the gathering targets a lady who comes out as lesbian and says she has sinned and isn't deserving of dying for. The man asserts that it is improper to be gay. The gang ends up killing the man. The guy and lady who knew each other from before tie and decide to die together in the following round since no one votes. A man who has always been quite vocal starts to wonder if the pregnant woman is a nice person. He remarks that she may not be a decent person and inquires as to the father of the child. He won't stop asking her questions despite the fact that she is agitated. People appear to be oblivious to the voting sound when it starts to play. Unexpected guy gets slain. The same man is questioned about his character and his position by a black man who is previously raw. Has a lot of issues. He replies that he is a banker. He argues that he is a decent guy since he donates to charities and lends people money to help them. But when a woman, a PhD student, brings up the potential salary he makes, others are less convinced. He then begins speaking softly in a different language to a man who cannot understand English. The gang ends up killing her. As the number of participants in the group continues to decline, people start to mention that there are sides, and fissures start to appear. A man steps in and asserts that the pregnant woman and unborn child need to be protected by the good side. However, everyone is in agreement. The toddler and the man who doesn't speak any English end up tied. In order to save her, he gives himself. The banker and the Marine get into an altercation. The Marine is appalled and claims the banker would kill a kid to save his own life. When it comes down to it, the banker says that he wants to live and that he will see what the Marine does. He starts chanting that the gang has to kill the kid and the pregnant woman because he is furious. People begin debating sides, and the banker begins yelling angrily. One group claims to be voting for the youngster, while another claims to be voting for the banker. The banker is slain if a draw results. A man claims that since saving the youngster and pregnant woman will even things out, everyone should vote for the guy with one arm. The individual dies. The Marine believes that the husband and wife should perish. The Marine abruptly urges everyone to vote for the black guy as the husband panics and declares that he would trade his wife for himself. A guy exclaims that everyone has committed suicide while laughing and declaring that true love conquers all. He asserts that they are most likely not wed, that they are lying, and that their only motivation for doing so is survival. No one wants to kill someone's spouse or wife, especially in their presence, he claims. People interrogate the pair by asking them things such, "What's his birthday? Who are his parents?" When a woman asks what her husband's name is, the group realizes he's already revealed it, but the wife doesn't respond. The pair admits their lies once the group realizes it. Though the gang kills the man, they both blame the other of beginning the lying first up. The same man who accused them of not being married says he can keep her alive and that she shouldn't have lied. He also says that he can assist keep him alive. The Marine intervenes and says he only wants to utilize her. The lady consents to join the side that want to murder the group. When asked whose side he supports, the man remains mute. The man who is attempting to organize a group to kill the pregnant mother and her unborn kid plays with the emotions of the lesbian woman. Between 5 persons, there is a tie. All save the bad side's leader, a Marine, a woman with cancer, a woman who was suspected of being a porn star, and a random person, pass away. But the pregnant woman refuses to cast her vote against the little girl despite his efforts to persuade her. After a guy apologizes to the pregnant woman and sacrifices himself, just 6 people are left. The vote is presently even. Voting starts, but a guy refuses, and the woman who lied about being married passes away. The man who chose not to vote is questioned by the 2 remaining men. The leader of the negative side consents when the gang decides to vote against him. He is slain shortly after discovering that he has been duped. The nice person realizes that he must support the elderly man, as does the pregnant woman and the youngster. He passes away. They begin to suggest it was probably an experiment to learn about us until there was just the husband, pregnant woman, and infant left. When he is gone, they will have to choose who walks forward or both will be killed, the man said. The mom begins to cry as the young daughter agrees to depart. He praises her bravery and promises that they will travel together. He yells at her to go as the voting beeper begins to ring. She leaves her circle, but the man also chooses the pregnant woman to perish. He exhales with relief. He shouts as the voting beeper blares once more, convinced that he is going to pass away anyhow. There is a tie between him and the unborn child that was inside the pregnant woman who died. The screen turns black after he chooses to kill the infant. In the final scene, the person awakens on concrete. When he glances up, he notices a variety of spaceships floating in the air. After a bit of walking, he notices a group of people gazing up at them. Along with them, he scans the sky for a massive spacecraft.
Subscribe now for more movie contents.